The first time Marcus Hale stepped onto the volcanic plains of Drathvar, he realized two things at once: the ground definitely wasn't supposed to bubble like soup, and he definitely shouldn't have worn his favorite boots. The sols were starting to melt, and he wasn't even 5 minutes into his assignment. His supervisor on Earth had promised him a peaceful cultural exchange mission. A lie. A bold, flaming, sulfur-scented lie. He walked deeper into the reddish haze, checking the readings on his handheld scanner. It beeped in patterns that could either mean, all good, or, you are standing in the digestive tract of a monster. Hard to tell. The Dragonkin language pack had downloaded incorrectly, so every time his translator tried to analyze environmental danger, it said cheerful things like, possible snack detected. He muttered, let's hope I'm not the snack. A shadow moved ahead. Tall, feminine, unmistakably alien. She sat at the edge of a cliff, where rivers of molten rock flowed like glowing blood below. Her long ears curved backward elegantly, shimmering faintly as if touched by the heat itself. Scales patterned her arms in pale iridescent swirls, and her wings, once powerful, now hung motionless behind her like folded memories. Lyrasha. The dragon woman the entire empire had quietly labeled broken. Marcus approached carefully. He wasn't sure if she welcomed visitors or roasted them at first sight. She didn't look back when she spoke. If you take one more step, the stone beneath you will crack. Humans are heavier than expected. He froze. Have you been studying humans? No, she said. I just assume every species that crashes into things constantly must be dense. All right, noted. You roast people even without fire. She turned her head a little, just enough so he caught the flicker of amusement in her ember gold eyes. It lasted barely a heartbeat, but it was there. And then she looked forward again, wings still, gaze far away. He knew her story. Everyone whispered it. Lyrasha, once a commander, a legendary aerial warrior capable of carving lightning trails through the sky. Now grounded, paralyzed from the waist down after a battlefield anomaly disrupted the energy core that allowed her transformations. The Dragonkin revered strength and despised weakness. They treated her with ceremonial politeness, the same way one might treat a painting. Admired. Untouched. Useless. Marcus wasn't good at leaving things untouched. Or following rules. Or shutting up. I'm Marcus Hale, he said, sitting beside her, carefully, very carefully, on a stone that looked slightly less like it would explode. Xenobiologist. Explorer. Collector of bad decisions. She let out a breath that was not quite a sigh. Why are you here? Your healing records, he said. They don't make sense. Most injuries do not make sense to mammals, she replied. No, I mean, they don't make sense because everyone gave up on you in record time. Her wings shifted, a faint tremor passing through them. Do not pity me, human. I don't, he said. If anything, I'm kind of mad. You survived something impossible, and your people looked at you and said, well, we tried nothing and we're out of ideas. Her jaw tightened. They did what honor dictated. And honor's an idiot. She turned toward him fully then, ears raised, eyes narrowed with both offense and curiosity. You challenge our customs. All the time, he said casually. Last week I challenged the custom of, don't step in glowing puddles. I learned a painful lesson. A small laughter-like rumble escaped her, low and cautious, as though she'd forgotten how laughter worked. Marcus's scanner beeped loudly then. Lyrasha's eyes widened. Is that a weapon? It's a scientific tool, he said proudly. The scanner announced, warning, you are hugely out of your depth. Lyrasha blinked. Your tool insults you. It's very honest, he admitted. She studied him, more deeply now. Why come to me? What do you seek, human explorer? I want to help you walk again. The volcanic wind went still. Lyrasha's voice dropped. Many have promised me that. All failed. They didn't try what I'm planning. Which is? He hesitated. You won't like it. Say it. A hybrid neural exosuit using human conductive pathways integrated with your draconic biofield. But you'd have to let me study how your energy core interacts with your spine. Her face shifted through three expressions: disbelief, horror, and the faint reaction one has when someone says something so reckless it loops back around to impressive. That is forbidden technology, she said. Dangerous. Illegal. Possibly stupid. Perfect, Marcus said. That's my specialty. Why risk yourself? She asked softly. He looked out at the molten rivers below them. Because you're alive. And that means there's a chance. Humans, we can't resist chances. Especially the stupid ones. For a long moment she said nothing. The wind carried the faint sound of distant machinery, dragonkin mining rigs grinding deep beneath volcanic crust. The sky glowed warm, as if the world itself struggled between fire and darkness. Finally, Lyrasha spoke. If your idea fails, it will not merely injure you. It will kill you. Marcus shrugged. If it kills me, just tell Earth I died heroically. They'll finally stop asking me to fill out survey forms. She stared at him for several seconds. And then, quietly, her wings drew closer to her back. You may try, she whispered. But only once. Marcus stood, brushing ash off his boots. Great. No pressure or anything. Her eyes softened. Human. Marcus. I have not stood since the day the sky abandoned me. If you give me hope merely to take it away, I will drag your spirit back from the afterlife and make you regret it. He grinned nervously. Motivational. I like it. She lifted her chin. Return tomorrow at dawn. Bring whatever forbidden machines you require. I will face this, foolishness. Foolishness is where all good ideas begin, he said. As he walked back toward the settlement, the volcanic mist swirling around him, Marcus realized he wasn't afraid of the danger ahead. He was afraid of failing her. Behind him, Lyrasha watched him leave, the faintest ember of something long lost glowing again inside her, courage, maybe, or hope, or simply curiosity about the reckless mammal who dared to challenge fate. For the first time in months, she felt something shift within her chest. Not her broken body. But the belief that she was not broken at all. Marcus spent the entire night trying to assemble what he proudly called a perfectly safe device, even though the machine kept sparking, smoking, and once yelled at him in 3 different languages. The workshop assigned to him was little more than a converted lava shield bunker that hummed like an angry creature. Pieces of metal floated on anti-grav pads, holographic screens hovered over half-built prototypes, and the smell of burned wiring mixed with volcanic ash in a way that felt suspiciously like doom. At 3 in the morning, he squinted at the half-assembled neural exosuit. Listen, he told it, tightening a bolt that wasn't supposed to exist. If you could stop exploding, that'd be great. The exosuit hissed. A cable snapped loose and smacked him across the cheek. Fantastic. Violence. Real mature. The translation drone in the corner chirped, statement, you provoked it. Oh, shut up. The drone powered down immediately, offended. He kept working, muttering complaints and hopes in equal measure. Every component required exquisite precision to adapt to dragonkin biology. Lyrasha's biofield was layered, powerful, and unpredictable, like lightning wrapped in ancient instinct. But Marcus had studied her medical scans carefully and saw something the Dragon Council never bothered to notice, the lingering neural pulses, the tiny sparks of energy that kept flickering even through paralysis. Life refusing to surrender. Tomorrow, he said, tightening the last neural conduit, we test the Mark I. It'll work. Or explode. But preferably work. Dawn's light seeped through the bunker's shielded walls, warm and red. Marcus wiped his face, grabbed the exosuit, which immediately tried to slip from his hands like an uncooperative pet, and headed toward the cliffs. Lyrasia was already waiting, sitting with her wings folded, expression unreadable. She wore a simple armored mantle, the kind a warrior might wear during a ceremony. Her long ears lifted slightly when she sensed him approach. "You're early," Marcus said. "You are late," she answered. "It's literally dawn. I expected you before then. You expect too much from a species that oversleeps." Her lips twitched, a tiny smirk she pretended not to have. He set the exosuit on the stone ground. It looked both impressive and ridiculous, a mix of sleek cybernetics and haphazard repairs held together by hope and a suspicious amount of adhesive. Lyrasia eyed it warily. "This contraption will help me walk." "That's the idea," Marcus said proudly. "This is the Neural Interface Exoframe Mark I. It looks like it was assembled by a sleep-deprived hatchling." "Thank you. Truly." She gave a slow exhale, nostrils glowing faintly with heat. "Explain it." He knelt beside the suit, gesturing animatedly. "These conduits link to your biofield, your internal energy lattice. This spine support aligns with your central nerve pathway. And these microrelays, these are key, translate your instinctive movements into kinetic output." She stared at him blankly. He tried again. "It listens to you, and helps you move. You could have said that first." "Yes, but then you wouldn't think I was smart." She let out a sound halfway between a sigh and a reluctant laugh. "Very well. Begin your foolishness." With utmost care, Marcus helped her shift so the exosuit could be positioned behind her. He attached the spine interface to the base of her neck, and the suit hummed to life, glowing faintly blue as it synchronized with her energy patterns. The ground trembled lightly, the suit absorbing some of the ambient heat from the volcanic plains. A pulse of light ran through the conduits. Lyrasia's wings quivered. "It feels strange." "Strange good or strange bad?" "Strange, like my body remembers something it forgot." He stepped back. "All right. When you're ready, try to move your foot. Slowly. Don't think too hard. Just, intend it." She closed her eyes. Her face tightened with determination. For a heartbeat nothing happened. Then the suit's microrelays crackled, and her right foot shifted an inch forward. An inch. Her eyes snapped open. "Did I?" "Yes." Marcus shouted. "You moved it." "That was not me. That was the machine." "Exactly. And the machine is listening to you." She stared at her foot, as though witnessing an ancient miracle. Again she tried, and again the exosuit responded, this time lifting her knee slightly before the suit jerked and locked, causing her to wobble. Marcus rushed forward, steadying her. Okay, that's enough for now," he said. "Mark I is fragile. Very fragile. It's basically a glass sculpture pretending to be a robot." Lyrasia kept staring at her legs. "I felt it. I felt movement. Even if it was faint." "That's the neural bridge forming," Marcus explained. "It means your pathways aren't dead, they're just disconnected. We can fix that." For several long moments she didn't speak. Her wings trembled faintly, not with fear this time but with something lighter, hope creeping through her like warm light. Then, quietly, she said, "Thank you, Marcus." He blinked. "For what?" "For trying. For doing what my own people would not." Before he could answer, a sharp crack echoed across the cliffs. Wing beats thundered overhead as two dragonkin soldiers descended. Their armor gleamed with crimson markings, the emblem of the rogue faction stirring unrest in the Empire. The taller one snarled, "Lyrasia of the Ashen Flight, cease this dishonor at once." Marcus stepped protectively in front of her. "Hey, guys. Morning. Want coffee?" The shorter dragon soldier growled. "Human. You have no right to interfere. She must accept her fate." "She moved her leg today," Marcus snapped. "Her fate is changing." "That movement was artificial," the tall one spat. "A trick. A false hope." Lyrasha's voice turned cold. "Hope is never false. Only feared." The soldiers stiffened. She had spoken like a commander again, and they felt it. The rogue soldier hissed, "This experiment ends now. The council forbids such technology." Marcus sighed dramatically. "Well, the council also forbids dancing after midnight." "I'm not impressed." The taller soldier stepped forward, claws scraping stone. "You dare mock." Lyrasha suddenly flared her wings with a force they had not seen in months. Though she could not stand, her presence alone radiated defiance. "Touch him," she growled, "and I will ensure you regret breathing." The soldiers hesitated. Marcus leaned toward Lyrasha and whispered, "That was very intimidating." 10 out of 10. Her wings twitched. "Be quiet, human." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. They weren't prepared for resistance, especially from someone they believed helpless. Finally, the taller one pointed a talon at Marcus. "You will cease this immediately. This human corruption ends today." Marcus raised a hand. "Actually, this human corruption is just beginning." And she agreed. "She is confused." "No," Lyrasha said. "I am choosing." The soldiers flinched. Choosing was a word of power among the dragonkin. With a frustrated hiss, they retreated to the sky, leaving scorching air in their wake. When they vanished, Marcus let out a long breath. "Well. That went better than expected." "They will return," Lyrasha murmured. "With others. Then we'll make Mark II before they get here." She gave him a tired, half-amused look. "You believe you can improve this contraption?" "Of course," Marcus said, lifting the sparking exosuit. "This one barely tried to kill us today. The next one will be much friendlier." "With your technology," she said dryly, "I doubt that." He grinned. "Then we'll survive it together." As he walked back toward the bunker, carrying the malfunctioning exosuit, he could feel her gaze following him. For the first time since her injury, she looked not at the ruins of her past, but at the possibility of her future. Marcus barely slept after the confrontation. The moment he stumbled back into his bunker, he started ripping apart the Mark I exosuit with the frantic energy of a scientist who knew he had maybe 3 days before angry, fire-breathing soldiers showed up demanding explanations. Or his head. Possibly both. Every time a conduit snapped loose or a relay sparked, he muttered something encouraging like, "You're doing great," or "Please don't explode again," or "If you kill me, Lyrasha will be very disappointed." The exosuit, as usual, ignored him. He pulled up holographic schematics, swiping blueprints aside, expanding diagrams with exhausted motions. Mark II, he said to himself, must be smoother, stronger, and at least 30% less murderous. The translation drone beside him flickered awake. Statement: You are statistically unlikely to achieve those parameters. Marcus threw a bolt at it. Statement: Mind your business. He worked until the bunker's lights flickered into dawn mode. By then, Mark II hovered serenely on its anti-grav clamps, a refined, improved exosuit with better energy channels, reinforced conduits, and a cleaner neural interface. It also hummed a little too loudly, which made Marcus deeply suspicious. Listen, he told it, today is your chance to act like a respectable piece of technology. Don't embarrass me. Mark II hummed louder. Yes, that's exactly the kind of attitude I'm worried about. He hauled the exosuit across the volcanic ridge, nearly tripping 3 times but managing to bully it into compliance by kicking the stabilizer chip. As he reached the training cliff, he saw Lyrasha waiting where she always sat. Wings folded, gaze distant, posture impossibly controlled for someone who lived in a world that kept trying to break her. When she saw him, her ears lifted slightly. "You built another one." "Mark II," he said, patting it proudly. "It doesn't hiss or attack random bystanders anymore." "Probably. That is not comforting." "That's the spirit." She eyed the exosuit with the same suspicion a warrior might give an unfamiliar creature. "Will it work?" Marcus hesitated. "I think so." "That is not confidence." "No," he said, "but it's honest. And honesty is basically confidence wearing pajamas." She snorted softly. "Humans speak nonsense." "We speak emotional truth disguised as nonsense," he corrected. She gave him her version of a smirk. They began the process. He lifted the exosuit behind her, careful not to trigger the motion sensors prematurely. She inhaled deeply as the neural interface touched the base of her neck. The conduits glowed, steadier this time. Her biofield pulsed in response, brightening the exosuit's internal circuits like veins of flowing light. Marcus stepped back. "All right. Try moving your left leg." She closed her eyes. Concentration settled over her like armor. A moment passed. Then another. And then, her leg shifted. More clearly. More smoothly than before. Marcus nearly screamed with joy. "You did it. That was the machine. It was both of you. You guided it." Before she could respond, he gestured quickly. "Okay, now the right leg. And don't think too hard. Just, let yourself want it." Her throat tightened, but she obeyed. Her right leg moved. Then her wings trembled. Then her breath caught. Marcus stepped back even farther as realization hit her with the force of an erupting geyser. "Marcus," her voice cracked. "I can feel everything. Not fully. But, more than before." He swallowed hard. "Yeah. Your biofield is reconnecting. You're forming your own pathways again." She stared at her hands, trembling. You actually." The exosuit suddenly emitted a loud, rising whine. Marcus flinched. "Oh no. Not this noise. This noise means trouble." Before he could reach the emergency override, the exosuit jerked violently, lifting her leg higher than intended. Lyrasha yelped, grabbing him by the shoulders, accidentally nearly tossing him over the cliff. "Turn it off," she barked. "I'm trying." He shouted back, wrestling the controls like a man fighting an angry refrigerator. Finally he slammed a glowing icon on the wrist module. The suit powered down instantly. Lyrasha sagged forward, wings drooping. Marcus leaned over, panting. "Okay. Note to self, Mark II has too much enthusiasm." She released him slowly. "It nearly flung me into the molten river." "Yes, but gently. There is no gentle way to be thrown into lava." "True. Very true." She settled back into her seated position, chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. But her eyes burned with a bright, dangerous spark. "I moved," she said softly. "Not inches. Not reflex. Real movement. Intentional." He smiled. "You did. You really did." She looked away, blinking rapidly. For a moment he thought she might be crying, but dragonkin tears evaporated before falling, so he couldn't be sure. To break the tension, he clapped loudly. "Okay. Break time. I need water. And possibly a new spine." She let out a quiet laugh, a real one this time, unguarded. "You are strange, Marcus." "Thank you. I take that as a compliment." "You should not. But I do." Their moment was cut short when the sound of approaching footsteps echoed across the stone. Heavy, deliberate, metallic. Marcus stiffened, turning to see three figures standing at the ridge, dragonkin soldiers wearing the insignia of the rogue faction. Not the same ones as yesterday. Bigger. Bulkier. More irritated looking. The leader stepped forward. Lyrasha of the Ashen Flight. Human. You have defied council decree. Marcus whispered, why are they always so dramatic? Because they are soldiers, she whispered back. So are Earth soldiers, but we also have coffee breaks. These guys need hobbies. This time, she actually stifled a laugh. The lead soldier glared. This is forbidden. The council orders you to cease all contact with the humans' technology. Marcus raised a hand. Counteroffer, no. The soldier bared his fangs. You mock us. You keep giving me such easy material, Marcus said. Lyrasha shifted, her wings spreading wide even though she still sat on the ground. The exosuit, still attached, glowed faintly as if sensing her rising defiance. I choose this, she declared. The soldiers froze. The word carried authority. Identity. Autonomy. In dragonkin culture, to choose was sacred. You choose dishonor, the leader hissed. I choose hope, she replied. Something you fear. Marcus leaned in and whispered, okay, that was epic. Please teach me that tone. She elbowed him. The soldiers exchanged glances. One muttered something in their native tongue, a word Marcus didn't understand but recognized from the tone, fear. Without another threat, they retreated. Slowly. Unwillingly. Defeated not by force, but by Lyrasha's refusal to bow. When they vanished into the haze, Marcus exhaled. Well, that went better than last time. They will return with more, Lyrasha murmured. Let them, he said. We'll be ready. She looked at him, studying him in a way that felt deeper, heavier than before. Why do you risk yourself for me, Marcus Hale? Because, he said, trying to think of something profound. Instead, he blurted, I'm very bad at minding my own business. Is that a human trait? Only the best humans. She shook her head, unable to hide a smile. You are reckless. And you're stubborn. Then we are well matched. He blinked. Is that good? We will find out, she said, wings folding slowly. As he helped detach the exosuit for transport back to the bunker, she touched his wrist lightly. He froze. Marcus, she said quietly, when I felt my legs respond. I felt alive again. Truly alive. You gave that back to me. He swallowed. I just built the machine. You gave me more than a machine. Their eyes met. Not dramatic. Not romantic. Just something real. Something forming. And then she added with a half-smirk, do not let it explode next time. No promises, he replied. They shared a moment of tired, fragile, hopeful laughter as the volcanic winds swirled around them, carrying away the last fragments of doubt. Mark II had worked. Mark III would have to be perfect. Because the Empire was watching. And time was running out. Marcus didn't realize how much trouble he was in until the bunker lights dimmed on their own, flickered twice, and switched to emergency mode. The translation drone floated anxiously beside his head. Warning, the city grid is experiencing interference. Probability of sabotage, 93%. Marcus groaned. Of course it is. Because life can't ever just let me finish one project without trying to kill me. The drone added, statement, you are very killable. Thank you, Marcus snapped. Very motivating. He tightened the last core stabilizer on Mark III, his pride and joy, his most advanced exosuit yet. It hovered silently on its anti-grav clamps, the conduits glowing evenly, smoothly, almost beautifully, if you ignored the fact that the rogue faction had probably decided he needed to be vaporized before noon. Marcus paced back and forth, running through calculations, diagnostics, safety protocols. Mark III was stable, but only in theory. He still had no idea how it would respond once linked to Lyrasha's full biofield. He suspected the suit would either create a perfect neural bridge, or explode in a way that would make future scientists sigh gently and say, "Yes, that tracks." The bunker door hissed open behind him. Lyrasha entered on a hover chair, gliding with a regal sort of indignation that only a warrior forced into a chair would possess. Her wings folded close to her spine, her expression composed, too composed. "You pushed the council too far," she said without greeting. "So did you," Marcus replied, tightening another bolt that didn't need tightening. "They have issued a formal decree. Is it a cheerful decree? Something hopeful? Maybe a thank you card? The decree says you are forbidden from touching any dragonkin technology." "Perfect," Marcus said. "Mark III is human technology." "Barely. Technically. Mostly." She gave him a long, slow look. "They want you removed, Marcus." He froze. Removed. Or politely escorted off the planet removed. Lyrasha didn't blink. "The dangerous one." He exhaled. "I guess that means we should hurry." Despite the danger, a small amused flicker tugged at her mouth. "You are reckless." "You keep saying that," he replied. "Starting to think it's my charm." "It is not. Yet here you are." She let out a low growl that sounded almost like a laugh. "Show me what you have built." Marcus gestured dramatically toward Mark III. "Behold. The Neural Interface Exoframe Mark III. Improved conduits. Stabilized core. Upgraded biosync. And only a 12% chance of violently malfunctioning. That number is not comforting. It's better than Mark II's. What was Mark II's? 43%. She closed her eyes. "Human, I should throw you into a crater." "But you won't," he said, helping her approach the suit. "No," she admitted quietly. "I will not." He initiated the sequence. The exosuit extended its support braces, opening like a mechanical flower. Lyrasha shifted forward as Marcus attached the spinal connectors with steady hands. Her biofield pulsed, stronger now, brighter. It surged through the conduits, illuminating the suit from within. "Tell me when it hurts," he said. "It already hurts." "Emotionally or physically?" "Both." "Valid. Continue." The neural link activated. Lyrasha inhaled sharply. "Marcus. I feel it. More clearly than before." "Try to move," he said softly. Her left leg lifted smoothly. Not a twitch. Not a jolt. Movement. Her right leg followed. Controlled. Precise. Her wings trembled with something close to disbelief. "I can stand," she whispered, voice shaking. "I feel strong again." "Do it," Marcus said, stepping back. She braced herself. Wings tightened. Hands pressed to the stone. Slowly, painfully, she began to rise. Her legs shook. The exosuit hummed. Her biofield surged like lightning. And then she stood. Unaided. Marcus threw his hands up. "Yes. Lyrasha, you're." "Be quiet," she hissed, voice cracking with emotion. "Let me feel this." He fell silent. She stood there trembling, breathing hard, eyes burning with something fierce and ancient. For the first time since her injury, she stood tall as a dragon warrior. A soft laugh escaped her. "Marcus. I could crush you right now. Please don't, he said. I'm very fragile. She turned, shifting her weight, practicing balance, step by step, each one smoother than the last. When she reached the far wall of the bunker, she looked back at him with something like wonder. You gave me my legs, she said. You gave me the sky again. He grinned nervously. Well, let's not try flying yet. She laughed. A full, open laugh that made the bunker's lights tremble. The translation drone whispered, Statement, the human appears emotionally compromised. Statement, Marcus shot back, you talk too much. Before Lyrasha could respond, alarms blared across the bunker. Red emergency symbols flashed on the holographic screens. Marcus froze. What now? The drone rotated, lights pulsing rapidly. Warning. Unauthorized forces approaching. Estimated time of arrival, 1 minute. The soldiers, Lyrasha murmured. They come to end this. Marcus swallowed. Then we show them something worth fearing. She stepped toward him, walking now, every movement deliberate, powerful, alive. Marcus hail, she said, if they come to stop us, we face them together. That sounds dangerous. It is. That sounds stupid. It is. That sounds like my specialty. She smirked. Then prepare yourself. The bunker doors shook violently as something slammed into them. Marcus grabbed the emergency override. If things go bad. They will not, she said. You don't know that. I do. Because you are beside me. He blinked. That's, wow. Okay. Emotional. I'm not prepared. The impact grew louder. Metal bent inward. Lyrasha's wings spread wide, glowing with her biofield. Let them come, she growled. I am not broken. I am not finished. Marcus stood beside her, trembling but determined. And I have a wrench. She looked at him. A wrench? It's my emotional support wrench. The bunker doors cracked. She lifted her chin. Then we fight. He gripped the wrench tighter. We fight. The final blow hit the door. And the metal began to tear open, the bunker doors tore apart with a metallic scream, shards clattering across the stone floor. Smoke rushed in first, then the silhouettes of armored dragonkin soldiers, broad, imposing, furious. Marcus raised his wrench in what he hoped looked like confidence. It did not. Lyrasha stepped forward, exosuit glowing with her rising biofield, wings unfurled to their widest span. For a moment, even the soldiers hesitated. No one expected her to be standing. No one expected her to radiate strength. No one expected her to fight. The leader snarled, You defy the council. You bring corruption. You bring dishonor. Marcus whispered, We really have to teach your people new insults. Lyrasha's voice cut through the smoke. I bring hope. And that is what terrifies you. The soldiers advanced. Marcus took a step back. Please don't make me use this wrench. I bruise easily. The leader lunged at Lyrasha. She moved, not perfectly, not like before her injury, but with a fluid certainty that didn't belong to the past. It belonged to now. She sidestepped, the exosuit amplifying her motion, and deflected the strike with her wing. The soldier stumbled. Marcus blinked. That was awesome. She shot him a glare. Focus, human. The next soldier charged Marcus. He squeaked, actually squeaked, and swung the wrench. Miraculously, it connected with the soldier's knee joint, sending a shower of sparks. The soldier toppled sideways, screeching. Marcus stared at his wrench. Never doubted you, buddy. The translation drone hummed from the corner. Statement, the human is more dangerous with a wrench than previously estimated. Lyrasha fought with the grace of someone rediscovering herself with every motion. The exosuit adapted, learning from her instincts. Every step, every shift, built a bridge between who she had been and who she was becoming. She wasn't the old commander. She wasn't the fragile exile. She was something new. Something stronger. The rogue leader roared and lunged again, claws bared. Lyrasha braced, but Marcus shoved himself between them, hands up. Let's talk, was all he managed before the soldier swatted him like a fly. Marcus hit the wall with a sound that suggested several bones filed complaints. Lyrasha's entire biofield flared like igniting plasma. The exosuit reacted instantly, channels blazing blue, power surging. Do not touch him. Her voice shook the bunker. The leader turned, but too late. Lyrasha stepped forward, 1 step, 2, 3, and struck with the full force of her wings, knocking him flat. The rogue soldiers froze, stunned. She towered over their leader, wings arched, eyes blazing with fierce clarity. You call me broken, she growled. Yet you tremble at my strength. The leader hissed, but did not rise. She stepped back, breathing hard but steady. Leave. And tell the council what you witnessed. The soldiers hesitated only a moment before dragging their leader away, defeated not by violence, but by undeniable truth. Silence settled over the bunker. Marcus groaned from the floor. Did we win? Or did I die? Be honest. Lyrasha limped to him, walking, truly walking, and crouched beside him, her wings folding around him like a shelter. You live, she said softly. Good, he muttered. Because I am too tired to haunt anyone. She touched the side of his face, checking for injuries. You protected me. I was trying to talk, he said. They didn't appreciate my negotiation style. It was foolish. I know. But brave, she added, voice softening. Very brave. He blinked. Did you just call me brave? Should I record this moment? She lifted him gently, setting him upright. Do not push your luck. But she was smiling. A real smile, bright as firelight. The council did not send more soldiers. Word of her standing, of her choice, spread faster than threats ever could. The Empire's elders issued a formal summons. Not for punishment, but for testimony. For the first time, they listened. To her story. To her strength. To the idea that worth could exist beyond physical perfection. Marcus stood beside her during the hearing, still bruised, still carrying his wrench like a ceremonial accessory. When the elders questioned his motives, he answered honestly. I didn't save her. I just helped her see what she already was. Lyrasha glanced at him afterward, eyes glowing faintly. You underestimate what you have done. Weeks passed. The exosuit became a symbol of change, and Lyrasha became its mentor, training other injured dragonkin to reclaim their strength in new ways. She walked every day, each step steadier, each stride a declaration. She was no longer defined by loss. She had grown into something greater. Marcus helped redesign the training center, installed new equipment, and once accidentally hacked the city's entire lighting system. The Empire forgave him. Eventually. One evening, as the molten horizon glowed and the air shimmered with quiet heat, Lyrasha and Marcus stood at the cliff where they'd first met. The place where she believed her life had ended. The place where it had begun again. You changed our world, she said. He kicked a loose pebble off the edge. I was mostly trying not to die the entire time. She laughed. And yet you lived. Barely. And you gave me more than any dragonkin ever did, she continued. You gave me a future. He rubbed the back of his neck. You gave it to yourself. I just provided some illegal technology and emotional support. That is enough, she said. A comfortable silence settled between them. Then Marcus asked, so, what now? Lyrasia looked toward the glowing world below. Now, I reclaim the sky. He raised a brow. Not with Mark III. That thing gets nervous at high altitudes. She nudged him with her wing. Then you will build Mark IV. He groaned. Do you know how many circuits I burned on the last one? You will manage. You always do. And if it explodes? I will catch you, she said simply. He blinked. That sounds oddly reassuring. She offered her hand. Claude, strong, steady. He took it without hesitation. Together, they stood on the cliff's edge, two unlikely companions, each changed by the other, each stronger than they had ever been alone. Marcus exhaled. So. You ready? Lyrasia smiled, wings rising with controlled grace. More than ready. And with a step forward, confident, grounded, unbroken, they faced the future together, fearlessly and without looking back.